everyone. We're in Limerick. It's late night and we are live from Studio 55. Your friends at ULTI.TV and EURODISC. All your usual analysts and idiots here to bring you the breakdown, the inside track, the breaking news from EUC 2023. We've got the whole crew in here. Let's kick things off, dive straight into it. Of course, we were a little bit delayed because of the Diversity Showcase stream. Hopefully everyone enjoyed themselves over there, and we will have some of the guests from the showcase on the show tonight. But let's have a quick rundown first. We've got myself, Steph, Sean, Charlotta behind us, Christina, Lou in the background, and you may have noticed sitting on the sofa opposite me from GB Open, Justin Ford and Ashley O. We heard that, Lorcan. Firstly, thanks for joining us. It's not like you guys have, anything more important to be getting on with.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for asking us. Yeah, Justin didn't want to come, but he did in the end.
So, obviously, kind of a big tournament so far, undefeated, and prepping for finals day tomorrow. How are you adjusting to the fact that you're going to have to play the semis and the final on the same day?
I think it's something we've known about since yesterday, so it's not something that is too much of a shock now. It's not ideal, but it's going to be the same for both teams in the final. I think we're in the lucky position that we've seen all of the other teams that we will potentially play quite a few times over this season, so we've probably done the scouting for them already. So at least that's a good thing. I think the only issue that we're going to have is just making sure that we get the rest from the game, prepare, and then get ready again for whenever the next game is. Yeah, I think it's something that we expected there to be issues. Expected that there might be games cancelled and things like that. So it's not ideal, but it's not a huge issue.
We're going to take a quick look at the highlights from the game we streamed yesterday against Switzerland, and they were your opponents in the quarterfinals today. What's it like playing the same opponent twice in a row like that?
Well, it's the classic saying that it's impossible. Well, it's very hard to beat the same team twice in one tournament, and I think the worst thing that can happen is you can get all complacent. And I think luckily we've all been in a situation where we've had to do that. Happened to us against France at Windmill, so we know we just have to approach the game as professional as we could, and that's kind of been our theme throughout the tournament, just to try and forget about who we're playing and just do everything we can do at 100%.
In terms of how you've been managing the workload going into this week, obviously you've got a large, deep roster. Are you playing kind of with your strongest lines every game, or are you kind of keeping an eye on managing players' minutes with some members of the squad older than others? I'll put it that way. I didn't mention any names.
I think we've done a pretty good job of being fairly flat across the board in terms of the play time that we've had. We were in the lucky position yesterday that this game didn't actually change anything, so with still wanting to go in and win the game, we were able to arrest a couple of the players that were carrying injuries, which was helpful for us. And it's obviously helpful that we didn't play a bunch of points in that game and didn't have loads of points today as well. So I think we're in a pretty good position in terms of players that have played. I think some of the older players that we have on the team might be some of the best shaped players that we have anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. We have...
Look to Justin twice there. Can't get a break.
Well, I thought I gave you a compliment there.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, some of the younger ones need a bit of help with the dietary requirements. Yeah.
So you've got, this time around, you've both been at Euros with GB before. This time around there's a lot of diversity within the team in terms of the teams that they're coming from. You've got Bristol, you've got Alba, we saw Joel Terry make a great catch in the back of the end zone there. What's it like having some of those younger guys kind of join in the group? Is it refreshing to have that different perspective, that different kind of experience go into it?
Well, I'll go then first.
Well, you've got the microphone.
Well, you can use it. Yeah, I would say, I'd say, and I've said this all the way through, I think this is probably the deepest roster that we've had. If you look at the bottom of our roster, there's not an obvious drop-off at the bottom of the roster, which is great. And I think certainly some of those players have been reasonably vocal in terms of things that we've done throughout the season and have brought things from their clubs our D-line captain is Mark Bignell, so he's brought some stuff from his experience at clubs, and we've tried to listen to players and kind of make a lot of player-led decisions. So I think that's helped us grow. I think that's helped us do things differently. And it's a nice bunch of lads.
And so even with that diversity, the O-line that you have is largely players that you played with a lot. Obviously, you've got guys like Josh East coming in. He's only been with Clapham this year. Robbie Haynes went over to Chevron, but you obviously have played with him lots in the past. How has it been kind of getting back into the rhythm with everybody and finding that rhythm within the O-line?
Sure. I mean, we've been practicing for ages now. We've been practicing since February. Will Rowledge and Eastie coming over to the O-line just fitted in really seamlessly. And like you said, like Robbie, and then the rest of the guys are just all players that we've played with. So it was a small gelling process within the first probably 4 to 6 weeks, and they just fitted in so well that it's just kind of easy. You adapt to the cuts they make, and you understand their fakes and what they like to do, and then you just get on with it. And it's been seamless, really.
And then you've also got Tommy Garwood as the coach this time around. What's it like having Tommy on board? I know he's been helping out Clapham, but he's actually at the tournament here. He's kind of calling lines and stuff. But what's it like having Tommy's input? Yeah,
it's great. Particularly from a club perspective, as Clapham, we've always struggled to find a great coach or someone willing to take on that amount of responsibility and put in that much time for not much personal gain, I guess. And it's great, and I'm sure Ash can probably give you more of an insight, but I think it probably takes a hell of a load off the captains in terms of admin and line calling and strategy and scouting and just some of the jobs that can become quite tiresome. And I think in instances and tournaments like this throughout the season, the more brains the better. But you might have a better insight to
I think probably similar to what you said. It takes a lot of that work away at the tournament. It takes a lot of the work away. Tommy's been great in terms of organising all the training sessions. He's planned everything out. That's made it a lot easier for us to not have to think about things whilst we're on the field too much. He's been excellent in terms of sorting out our strategy, taking a lead on that. It just makes things a lot easier, and it's something that, as players, is quite a mentally taxing job to have to do. We still have a strategy team, which is made up of a bunch of the players, but Tommy leads everything, makes things much easier. And I would say as well, we have Ben Hall on the team, who we originally picked as a player. Unfortunately, 10 minutes into his trial, he tore his ACL, which is pretty tough. But he's been hugely valuable for us. He's basically taken up the role of the head scout, and he's taken the lead on all of the scouting that we've done and put in hours and hours of work, whether that's watching us play or watching the other teams play, and that's really helped us in terms of planning for games.
We're going to take a quick look at your results so far this tournament. Obviously one of just two sides with an unbeaten record so far, with Germany, the other team that is still yet to suffer defeat. There we are, have a quick look. Victories over France, Austria, the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, the Czech Republic, and of course back-to-back wins against the Swiss. Obviously there are various teams that kind of presented various challenges. I think the result that probably sticks out there, though, for most people is that universe point win over the Belgians. You took a big lead into that half, and then Belgium kind of roared back in the second half before you squeaked it out at the end. I don't think that's an unfair summary.
No, spot on.
What's it like kind of being in that game where you've got that big cushion and then you see an opposition of that quality kind of slowly chip away at it?
I'd say I think we've been in that position a few times over probably over our careers, where we've been in teams that's happened to a few times. I think you get quite used to it. You know that the job is, as the O-line, is to just get the D-line back on the field, and they really are the stars of our team. They're the guys that are going to make the highlight plays. So it's just a focus thing, and I think some of the time we just have to accept that if we get a big lead, teams are going to throw out their universe point line a lot throughout the rest of the game. And I think I'd say the Belgians probably put out their strong lines at times to get blocks against us, and that worked for them. And some of that is just riding that out, and I think it's good learning for us. We've had a few situations where we've gone through that this tournament already, and thankfully we've come out on top, and I think we've got better for that over the tournament.
Just a follow up with that, we had Dan and Tobey on the other day about the end of that game. I blew the doors off the situation when they were talking about the defender in question, and I brought up Will Rowledge's name, and I'm bringing it up more properly this time. I think I said Rowledge on the show yesterday. But yeah, any insight or your side of the story? How did that last play look for you guys? There was Tobey made a D. It was not agreeable on both sides. How did you guys see it, and how did you feel about the resolution after being in the spirit circle?
So I didn't have a great look. I was actually upfield, cutting upfield at the time. I think you may have had a slightly better look, but I think it was it's probably a difficult situation, because I think it was the two players that felt the situation the most. But I don't know what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly right. I think people can have perspectives, and the foul he's called is something that he knows he's been knocked, I assume. I know Will, like, he's a very well-spirited player. He's the first one to uncontest a foul. In fact, I think he loves the signal. He loves that. You see him do it always. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because on the field I had a perspective that it looked like there was a bump a yard or two before, so I was trying to find out when the foul happened. But I do fully trust Will that he got fouled and he made his call, and it's gonna suck either way. And it's a hard call to take on the other end, but yeah, like I said, I wouldn't expect Will to make a bad call, especially getting to talk and think through it for so long, to be able to view a bit of footage on the sideline and still stand by it. Like, fair play. But yeah, I can totally understand where there would have been frustrations from the other team. It happens.
So talking of the Belgians, Dan and Toby and Sophia and all these guys, Ben Yonkers, that are all coming through this kind of young group that's coming through. When you came through, Justin, you were playing against Skogs, and then we had the Italians obviously from La Fossa come in, and now this new Belgian group's coming through, this young group. How do you think they kind of stack up against the opposition you've come across your careers so far, this kind of young cohort that's coming in?
Yeah, I mean, they're a bunch of class players. They're players that have obviously drilled and thrown an awful lot in their younger years. I'm not sure what their average age is, but they're obviously, like, they're not just athletic players. Some players burst on the scene who are just great at making blocks or scoring goals, but they've all got very good disc skills. Dan's super fast. Toby loves scoring goals. And yeah, they're just obviously a very good bunch. They're obviously very good mates, and they've had a lot of experience. And now after the last year or two, they've had a lot of top end experience, be it at Windmill, under 24s, and I think just the more they're playing together, the more comfortable they're getting. But yeah, it's hard to what it's comparable, but it's hard to compare it to something, because I guess maybe 12 years ago that might have been how maybe some of the Swedes felt about other countries. Yeah, it's fair play to them, and you know, it's always good for us to have good competitions. Like you said, the Italians were very strong 4 years ago, and they still are, obviously. But they were ones who a lot of the youngsters burst onto the scene. When you get a good number, more than just like 2 or 3, that's when they create like a really significant impact and start, you know, really performing at that top level.
I mean, you've got a few under 24s of your own who are representing last week in Nottingham. How have you found having their experiences in the group, obviously seeing things from a slightly different perspective, just coming maybe through slightly different coaching systems and going from roles where they're kind of leading their respective teams and then transitioning into kind of more of a role player now with you this week?
I think they've all fit in really, really well, actually. I think a bunch of those guys were playing a lot of points under 24s, and I think the biggest challenge we had for that was that that a lot of them were carrying not necessarily injuries, but tiredness from playing that week. I know Eastie played pretty much every point in some of the games for the mixed team. I know Rodri played a load, Ethan played a load as well, and I think early on we sort of tried to make sure that they weren't too tired. In terms of expectations, they've been great. Like they haven't come on and expected to play every point. They'll come on the line. They're obviously keen to play, but I think they're pretty selfless players for this team, and understand that we're trying to win this, and that we don't want them to kill themselves on day 1 and 2. That's obviously been a bit more difficult with some that are carrying injuries because they're young. They just want to play the whole time, and telling them they need to rest is not always what they need to know. But I think when you get to our ages, I think you realise that, well, Justin's age. You kind of realise that you want to be able to have everyone available for the final couple of days of the tournament. But yeah, they fit in really well. I think in terms of sort of the coaching side of things, I think they've come in quite green in terms of what they're able to do, and I think that means they've picked up what we wanted to do really well. They have a lot of confidence, which is great. They've taken on things that we've asked them to do. They're not worried about taking on throws and stuff like that in training, which has been great because it's pushed others as well. So yeah, I think the future for those guys is it looks great.
Awesome. I got a few quick questions about the future, the immediate future, and then a little bit forward thinking. But first, let's talk about the other side of the bracket. Quick question. Who's going to feature in the final from the other side of the bracket? Who's going to win that Germany-Belgium game? Whether you face them or not, we're not getting there yet, but who's winning that game?
You pick one, I'll pick the
other. I'm not giving a result or prediction on the stream.
Okay, you're not going there.
No, I expect it to be a very well-fought game. It's going to be very competitive. I wouldn't want to say who I think is going to win. It wouldn't surprise me if there's 1 or 2 points in it. And it also wouldn't surprise me if it was a 15-9 or a 15-10 game. So I'm just backing everything.
Okay, there we go. Easy way. I'll let you guys.
It could be close. It could be a blowout. It could be one team. It could be anything.
Yeah. We'll let you guys sit on the fence on that. That's fair. Talk to us about Italy then. You've had that Clapham-Lafoot rivalry. You guys met at least 2 years in a row, and maybe 3 and 4 in the finals. I don't have my facts straight, but enough battles at the top end of the club season. Teams are enough similar players crossing over. How are you guys gonna? What do you got to do to get through Italy this time? What's got to be done for that game tomorrow?
What's the game plan, mate?
Without giving it all away.
I think it's what I've said before. It's about approaching the game right. I think luckily we know with the Italians that it's going to be a tough game. We're not expecting to go in there and, regardless of any results that have happened or the results that they've had, we just know that we have to give it 100. And if we do that, we should be fine. Yeah, that's it.
I'll let you guys leave it at that.
I don't know if you want to say something about it.
That's a great answer.
Easy to get out of there. The next question is about the forward thinking. Of course, EUC is a good big tournament to peak for, but these campaigns tend to set up for the World's campaigns as well. I imagine there is forward thinking. You guys are going to be going to the Gold Coast in Australia next year. Besides the weather being maybe favorable over there, talk about how this team plans to campaign 1 year ahead. Is it going to stay together? Is there administration already set? Is there lots to be changed? But talk about how this campaign moves forward towards Australia 2024.
So I think firstly, UKU need to confirm whether we're leadership for the next year, which I'm hoping they'll be happy to do with that. I think it was just for this one, so sorry, Sai.
Throwing him on for the bus there.
Yeah. But obviously, if we're planning to continue, I think we'd like to keep the core of the team together. I think we'd like to start our preparations a little earlier, and not just have a huge off season where we don't really touch base with the team at all. And and I think we'd probably want to meet a few times in the off season. But I think in general, it will be a continuation of things. I think we'll freshen up the things that didn't work over this season. We'll try to build on the things that do work. I think one thing that will be great is that we'll have a lot more time with the players that are playing for different clubs to actually gel. It doesn't feel like we had a load of time this time round when you think we started back in February. Just getting people to gel together is not the easiest thing to do. And I think we start at a much higher base level going into next year. I'm sure there'll be probably people that want to try out for the teams as well. So that should push people in the team. We're pretty much at the max roster size as it is. So without wanting to push anyone out of the team, I'm sure there'll be some people wanting to try out. But yeah, we're really happy with the team that we actually have right now. We're happy with kind of the buy-in that we've had from everyone, and we fully expect to push on and improve as a team in the next 12 months, which is great that we have 13 months actually up to Worlds.
Just quickly talking about the leading into the Worlds process, have you already talked about that with the players when you were trying people out? Were you saying this is just Euros? Have you siloed this season? Or have you said we're looking for a cycle here?
No, we didn't say it was just Euros. Like we've talked about the 2-year cycle, and that's always been our aim. So it's not anything that we've expected people to be here just for the year. And I don't think there's anyone on the team that just wants to finish at Euros, or hopefully not anyway. So yeah, I think most people are going to want to carry on, and I hope they do.
Amazing. We're going to throw to the floor. Any questions?
Yeah, I want to focus more on this tournament now. Have you, besides obviously wanting to win again, have you set any other goals for the team or for you personally?
Not for me.
No, I think winning's a tough enough thing already, and as much as we'd like to have other goals, and we do have sort of mini aims of playing things right, like we want to play the way that we've defined. It can be messy trying to win, and I think getting over that line's the most important thing for us.
I think we're going to leave them at that. We're probably going to get a analysis piece here from our Hive crew. Lou, you ready to roll on that? Here, let me check this mic. No, I think checking this mic here. Let's make it a little easier.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Let's see what the Hive crew's got for us tonight.
All right, this is Felix is stood in the background, has no idea what the clips are going to be, so you're going to have to analyze these on the fly, Felix. Earlier in the week on the Hive Ultimate YouTube channel, which we've not been plugging enough in this segment.
I don't know. I think we have.
Well, I've not been saying it on the mic. YouTube.com/HiveUltimate. We released a video about the Spanish Open team, so that's the team we're going to focus on today. We streamed 2 of their games today. Their pre-quarter against Austria and then their quarterfinal against Belgium. So this first clip is from the Austria game. And it's some fantastic quick disc movement, which is exactly what we highlighted in the video about them earlier this week. Just moving the disc on slow 1 or 2 and punching it into the end zone nicely. You got anything to say about this, Felix?
I mean, it's clear they want to get the disc out of their hands as soon as possible, and they don't want to fake anybody.
A question for Ash and Justin. When you watch teams play with this kind of distinct style like that, do you kind of look at it and think how you can incorporate that into your game, or just kind of admire it from afar?
I personally think some of that can be dictated by the defense. I'm sure you could probably find points of GB and CU where some of our points look like this, and if you can. Yeah, and I think once you get going in a position like that, then it's easy to continue. I think it can be unlikely to go from this back to like a spread structured sort of 3-4 or 2-5 scenario. And I don't think this is something we probably wouldn't actively try to do in terms of spacing. I think spacing for us is a big priority, and that's not me saying this isn't the way to do it by any means. But you know, even early on in this clip, although this is obviously like very good offense, there was still like a small area where there was a defender or two defenders or two cutters in the same area going for the same disc. So I think we really tried to eliminate situations like that. Throwing to poachers is like a pretty awful feeling. And cutting in pairs, clearing space for other cutters is something that we always try to focus on. Having said that, if you break through a zone and you get going, something like this, or we throw like a good break pass and you're quick to go as a thrower and you can get the next continue pass, it's not something we're going to be like, don't cut there, don't clear through that dead space. So I think organically we'd be happy to run stuff like this, but it's not something that we'd set up as a full game strategy.
Yeah, I think kind of what you said there against zones, actually, we do often play in terms of just trying to move the disc as quickly as possible against zones. So I think you would probably see us doing this a lot more. And I think there are probably some players with more of a personal style of moving the disc. Like I think I probably move the disc reasonably quickly. Right. Others look for more aggressive options.
Wolf says so. Very quickly.
Okay.
You move it as quicker than anyone else in the GB.
And then I think others are looking for more aggressive options. And I think I think at times it's useful to have the two complements there, because I'm not going to be the person that throws the 60, 70 yard flick down the field for a goal.
Really?
Yet. Not yet.
Not with that attitude.
I'm gonna say it'll come someday, I believe.
So here's another clip from the game versus Austria. Again, similar
That's
stuff.
the same clip, isn't it?
Is it the same clip? There we go. Okay, this one's against zone. So watch, in particular, the number 9 shirt, whose name I've forgotten. Romano's number 6.
Monterde?
Yes. Actually, no, that's a different clip with number 9. We'll get to him later. Anyway, there's more good disc movement. So this is now a clip versus Belgium. So much tougher competition. And they still go for the same style. Try and count the stall in your head for this one. And I think there's a point where it gets to 4, but that's the highest it gets.
Is that an actual 4 or like an elite ultimate 4?
Oh, elite
which is
ultimate
like
4.
a 6.
Yeah, elite ultimate 4. Yeah, the spacing's a little weird because they did tend to start from vertical stack quite a lot, and the Belgians did surround it, but I decided not to highlight that.
I think one thing here, the Belgians are getting them quite stuck on the sideline, and I think if they actually do try and get that across the middle of the field a bit quicker and straight off the sideline, I think they probably end up not having to throw as many passes, given that they're already free in a lot of spaces.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because they did have some troubles off the sideline in this game, but the final clip, which is my favorite, is...
Oh, this was good. I remember this.
So this time, look at the number 9 shirt. If it plays. Come on. So yeah, me and Benji were on commentary for this one. Now, this is quick disc movement. So the spacing's a lot better on this point. They're not just going down that sideline. They're keeping the disc in the middle, keeping it moving. And the Belgians had a game plan coming into this game of trying to stop this, but when it's done well.
Yeah, generally Belgium did quite a good job of stopping a lot of the quick disc movement, especially kind of when they started from that vertical set and they really scrambled around that stack, and it took them a while to come free. But if the pools were not quite as good and it gave them an opportunity to get going before the defense was set, or if Belgium turned over and they picked up quickly, every now and again they had those points where it looked like classic Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, in certain situations that offence works great. Like I'll be the first one to say, well, I played against Spain in the Euros Beach final last summer, and I think it was Fendisc played that throughout the whole game. We couldn't get the disc off them. I think there's two, like a goal for us is, or an ideal situation is, can you score in 2 passes? It's the most efficient way to score, and if you can do that, then great, because your O-line comes on, 2 players run, and you've scored a goal, and you're off in 10 seconds. Like that number 9, like I said, I'm not discrediting him. Like, that's amazing to be able to run like that.
But it's different to what you look to do as an offence.
I think so, and I think the longevity of doing that through an entire tournament, like that's when you might struggle to see it, because God bless him, number 9, he must be knackered. But like if you can do that every game throughout an entire tournament, then great. Or if you have 15 guys that can do that, then great. It's just not. I guess maybe it's probably like a national thing. Like, it's not the way that UK play. I think, yeah, it's not a bad way of playing offense, but I think in terms of, can you sustain that throughout an entire tournament, throughout the depth of your squad, that's when it becomes problematic. Well, that's our experience anyway.
Yeah, I think like if the defense don't force you to do something different, then you should just throw it to the end zone, right? Like, if you're able to beat that 1-to-1 and just score in 1 or 2 passes, great, of course do that. But then if the defense starts to then adapt and then you know, force you to then do something else, then this is really nice to have something to go to, basically.
I think one of the reasons why I particularly enjoy covering the European events, with all due respect to tournaments like UK Nationals, is that you really do kind of get that culture clash. You know, the whole styles makes fights thing. The idea that different teams have different philosophies, different ethoses, be that how they look to isolate players on offense or how they operate defensively, whether it's kind of whether they thrive on going for that physicality, the tight match defense, or whether they look to grind you down with zone, that I think makes international events like this really fascinating to watch and call.
Yeah, so that's why I just wanted to highlight Spain on this show. Obviously, we made a video about them earlier in the week on the Hive YouTube channel, but they came out and kept playing this style, and it's incredibly impressive to see them pulling that type of offense off against a team the quality of Belgium, especially given that Spain were not tipped to even make quarters.
I know that Spain thanked you for doing that as well, because it meant that everyone knew how they played.
And they did get an early win against Italy, right?
They absolutely did, yeah.
To be able to play that sort of style against a top 4 team is obviously good. But like I said, can you sustain that for like the entire tournament? And I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's tough.
Yeah, I think it probably is tough. But like, to get a win against Italy, which is a team you would probably think would defensively be able to match them there, I think is hugely impressive. A team that's in the semi-final and consistently performing as one of the best teams in Europe. I think that's a huge win. And like Justin was saying, if you can find a way to sustain that throughout a seven game tournament, which I take it, like I think a load of the guys on the Spain team probably play a lot of beach.
Yes.
I think, and I think it's probably a little less impactful on your joints playing 7 days on a beach. It'd probably way more work in terms of cardio, but I think once you get to day 5, 6 in a tournament on grass, and especially 3G that we played on, I think that probably is quite tough. I would probably say from experience, if you do end up running a lot and moving a lot on those surfaces, then you do pick up some injuries. But if you can get a really deep team that you're able to do that, I think they could really push for semi-finals in whether it's the European club scene or actually pushing for the quarterfinals at Worlds next time round.
Just one more question, and that is, what does the rest of the night look for you? Just kind of fine-tune the game plan, get a good night's sleep in, finally get rid of the creases on your shirt.
Big night out tonight. Big night out.
See you at Stables?
I think Mark Bignell's playing Monopoly at 11. Lexi Long is watching Lord of the Rings at 12. And Ash is going to do my ironing at 1.
That could take a while.
Party!
these activities can only happen one at a time. And the rest of you
Correct.
watching while everyone else while Mark's playing.
We'll have to set the
Monopoly.
video up. Yeah.
We do a live stream.
Get some live
Yeah.
commentary out
Yeah.
there for the
Yeah.
punters.
Get us back tomorrow and we'll tell you about it.
All right, I'll let you know what my rates are. A big round of applause, everyone, for Justin and Ash.
Thank you.
We're going to throw to a quick ad break and rotate our cast of guests, and we shall see you in a minute or so.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. EURODISC continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. EURODISC.
What a grab! Oh my! Somehow they do it!
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, OPEN Brits, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Limerick Late Night Live from 55. We're back. And a fresh new panel of guests here. Ravi, Sarah, and Maria, fresh off the Diversity Showcase game. Welcome to the show. We've brought you in with a round of applause. You guys are really fresh off the showcase game. The Diversity Showcase ended no more than an hour ago, maybe an hour and 20 minutes ago, something like that. Was a great game, great spectacle, great initiative. I think we're going to start pretty generally with the questions, but talk about how it came together, how you guys kind of got yourselves involved from the beginning, and yeah, talk to us about that first, the initiation phases of this showcase event.
Yeah, I just saw the call on Instagram. Nemo put it out looking for players, and I thought, I'm here coaching. I don't know how you all are playing, and then doing adding an extra game to your set of already I'm coaching the Dutch Open team. We've had 2 games a day every day except for today, and so Stephen, we had 2 of our players also play tonight. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how y'all did it, but for coaching, I was like, oh, I can go out there and run around for 1 game. It'll be nice to do that, and so I saw the initiative. It's a really cool thing. I've been involved in European Ultimate for a while, but to show the diversity we can have in this part of the world, I was excited about it, so I just decided to put my name in the hat, and they said, yeah, welcome to play, and went out and did it.
We'll take them.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same to me. I saw it on Instagram. I was just like, okay, it's like an opportunity to play with players from with just different backgrounds, and it was really just amazing because in Belgium it's I mean, yeah, we don't have a lot of diversity. Can I say it? Is it allowed? Okay.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, it was just a great opportunity to play with new faces. So I just signed up, and yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm very close to Katya and Nemo, and then while we were traveling, he said he has this idea, and then he asked me to sign up, and I said, yeah, why not? It sounds great. So. And it's a great opportunity to play with people that you know around, and then just to get together again. So
yeah, one more game of Ultimate, and I
one
can't
more
believe you
game,
didn't consider that part of it.
Another very long game as well. So, but it was great actually.
Amazing. So I'll talk about the second part of the initiation phase, meeting the team, getting your jerseys, trying to establish a little bit of symbiotic nature. Talk about that. I guess maybe started a couple days ago. You guys maybe met, but tell me. Because
like
I don't know.
a couple
that's what I'm
weeks
asking.
ago, I think, with a WhatsApp group, and then we just starting to know who was in there, and that we were going to get jerseys, and we learned about the teams just yesterday, I think. Yeah, we get a meeting together. We were supposed to get lunch, but I didn't get mine. Did you get yours? So I'm very hungry right now.
No.
Somebody owes Maria a lunch.
No.
I got my dinner.
Just rubbing that in. Yeah.
How good was it?
You run away too fast. No, we just, like she said, and then we just met each other yesterday. We got our jerseys, and we just learned who was on our team, and not everybody was there, so we just actually met everyone today, just before starting the game. We were just throwing together and like kind of warming up, and yeah, we just started the game like this, and just talked about some stuff like our names first.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff, right? And then we just started playing. So.
Yeah, yesterday was cool meeting everybody the first time. I was very excited to be opposing Stephen Chang, captain on my team. I'm coach of my team, and get the win against him was nice. It looked dodgy. We were down 8-2 to start, but
I will say I was on the sideline when you nearly dropped that pole at Steve.
Hey, nearly.
Was already talking about how excited he would have been had you.
I was going to be so excited to talk about that for a long time. But you lay out course here.
I got it back. That's just to make it a little spicy for the fans. That's all.
Did a very good job at that because it was very spicy. I mean, so what was it like playing with the people that were in the game? Because like we've seen in the Colour of Ultimate, like we've seen in Mesh in the UK, there was people who were volunteers who maybe haven't played at a high level, and then there's people who obviously you're here playing with your national teams. There's people who played at the World Games in that game. I mean, how was it playing with those people that have achieved so much that you maybe haven't played with before, or even played on the same field as?
Yeah, it was really cool. I was looking forward to playing with players like Nas and Fiquan, and Nas was saying, he has a semi-final at 9 o'clock tomorrow, so maybe he has a little bit more important things to do. But but they coached, and Fi had a bit of an injury, so I was a little disappointed. And I think in the beginning of the game, for me, I'll let the ladies answer as well, but for the beginning of the game, for me, it was a little weird, I think, kind of gauging, the different levels of play of the people, and we went down 8-2. It looked like, this isn't going to be super fun, but I think the second half, what kicked it all off, I think, for our comeback and for making the game a lot more fun was when Yoram appealed to the crowd with his thumber pull. They kept yelling for the thumber pull, and that just kicked things off. And this is the type of game we're playing. And then once we did that, we kind of were able to. I think the game became a lot more fun. Realized, okay, we're just out here. Let's throw some. You don't need to play super safe ultimate. Let's try and make some plays happen. Let's try and give the fans what they want. And then it was super fun because then we're not taking it super seriously. Let's just put on a show. And once that we figured that out, things got a lot better.
Yeah, what you don't know is that at halftime, so it was 8-2, just a quick reminder, we were like, okay, we're doing amazing. We just found each other on the field so quickly. We had nothing. We were just, okay, let's play 2-5 and just playing boring ultimate, and it worked really well, 8-2. And then,
back to that.
just a reminder.
Sorry, so I just have a really quick question. What score was it at halftime?
I think it was 8. Do you remember?
We had 2.
You had 2. We had 8 because No, but we were like, okay, let's have fun. So we just we're wondering, okay, let's do hammer points. We would just throw hammers. Let's just find just fun stuff to do. So I think that wasn't a good idea.
Good for the fans, though. Great
good for the fans. Good for the universe game. But maybe that's what we shouldn't have done if we wanted to win. But that was so fun.
Should have crossed them.
Well, I arrived late to the match, like 15 or 20 minutes late. And so, I arrived and I asked, what's the score? What is happening? Who is my team? I didn't really know anybody. And then I just went inside to the line and then just have fun and relax after. So it was very nice to just be there and then just don't worry about anything. Just play fun Frisbee for, I don't know how long it was, 70 minutes? Something like that, yeah. And then managed to make a comeback. One more.
One more, why not? Add it to
Why
your
not?
list.
Yes, so it was pretty fun.
I think one of the nice things about the player introductions as well was a lot of players had several countries that were read out. How did it feel, kind of, for all of you representing not only the country you're representing here, but also kind of the countries that you have links to as well, and representing the whole experience that you have? What was it like, kind of bringing all of that to the game?
It's a funny situation actually, because you're actually not part of the nation, but you're playing with them. So sometimes you feel a little bit out cultural talking. And for example, with Belgium, we speak 3 languages at the same time. So sometimes it's very hard because some people speak Dutch and then some people speak French, but the team communicates in English. So it's I don't know, it's a funny situation, but I like it. At the end, the team makes me feel at home, and they're very supportive, and I really love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, so my back, it's weird. I think I probably should have mentioned the more like I said that I was representing the Netherlands and the USA, which is I live in the Netherlands and I'm from the USA, but like the diversity part of me is actually my Indian and Colombian background, and maybe I should have given those. I was a bit. I think I kind of blew the assignment a little
Buried
bit.
the lead a little bit.
But yeah, so it was really cool. I think there were players from like Nigeria, Afghanistan, Japan, all kinds of places, India. South America, many different countries in South America. It was really just cool to see all of that. You know, I've been in Europe since 2009, and so I played a lot of European people. It was nice just to have a group of people from many other parts of the world, from their backgrounds and all that, and cool to just put on a show with them. I loved it.
Yeah, same for me. It was really amazing to play with just different people from like all over the world, and it was really amazing. I was maybe a bit missing someone representing North Africa with me, because I'm Tunisian, half Tunisian. So yeah, it's really something that there is no Frisbee there. There's no ultimate. It's just like, yeah. I don't know why, because I know there are some teams in like Morocco, Egypt, I know, but like Tunisia, it's just no. I think, yeah, I don't know actually if it could work there, because I feel like, I don't know, I tried playing with my family once, just once, because it was not great. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I have no answer to that. I'm still, yeah.
So if the EUF were to run a similar showcase game at future events, A, would you still be keen to get involved? And B, if they asked for feedback about what you would change about the process and how it came together, what would that feedback be?
A, I would do it again 100%. It was just amazing to have a game where you don't have to focus and you don't have to, I mean, at the end you don't care about like the ending of the game. You're just here playing Frisbee, sharing it with like different people, and right? Yeah, just the halftime was it?
That's the real quiz.
But yeah, if I had any feedback, maybe it would have been nice to like meet the team. I don't know, at the beginning of the week or something, so we could like know who we were playing with. But that's basically the only thing, because I think that the organization and like Nemo did an amazing job to organize this, and so yeah, that was really great.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah, just meet it before and then maybe saying hi around, and then just be more in contact with each other would be nice.
Yeah,
Agreed.
same. Yeah, same. Yes.
We've got a question from Tatenda coming in off screen. Tatenda, of course, called the game with John Kofi, Kofi and Tea, Coffee and Tea, as we were billing it off the top.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My question would be, I guess it's not really about a European Diversity Showcase game. We have All Africa Club competition coming up in October with WFDF, and we've seen with Colour of Ultimate starting in the States, we've seen Mesh in the UK, we're now seeing this here. I've been thinking a lot about what it means what diversity really means and where, because I was at World Club Championships in Cincinnati last year, and I had some gripes in terms of with the Diversity Showcase game, there were people involved who in their home countries were part of the ethnic majority, so might not have had the shared experience of being a minority within their communities, obviously, and even would have been part of a global majority as well. So my question, just as a thought, would be, what do you think a Diversity Showcase game could look like in Africa, and what does diversity really mean to you?
Very deep question from Tatenda. I'll leave it up to you to take a swing at it if you like.
Yeah, how it would look like. I mean, if you look at the Ultimate community in general, it's still very, at global events, it's still very much led by North America and Europe. So I think just having an all-African tournament is in a way bringing diversity to our sport in general. So I don't think we need to think of a way to have a certain special diversity showcase game there. Maybe if you wanted to have an all-star game with, top players from each country or something like this to show, like, here's what it could look like. Maybe the level there isn't as developed, but we see some of the stars, how the Eurostars tour, it's not a diversity thing, but they went out and played in the US with the top players. It showed how the individual communities in Europe could compete with the top level. Maybe that would be a way to show, like, so it's different here. Here we kind of had a game where the level's very mixed, but we're just focused on the diversity. Maybe in Africa you could have a game where the level is, like, higher and really, really, tight with top players from each country. And that could be like a showcase of what the future of Ultimate in this region of the world could look like.
Yeah, I agree with what you said.
Me too.
Very wise nodding. I appreciate this is kind of rich for me coming as a higher educated middle class white guy. There's a lot of higher educated middle class white guys in Ultimate. So it's nice to see kind of people who have very different experiences from me getting that chance to kind of have the spotlight for a bit that often is not shone upon them as much as perhaps it should be.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think, thank you for acknowledging the privilege. I think it's often very unsaid. I often find as a minority in some respects and underprivileged in some respects, but very privileged in a lot of respects. Like, we're all very privileged to be a part of this community. I often find it's people who have an underprivileged identity within themselves are often the first to bring up privilege within the sport. So I think thank you for bringing up the privileges you have to be participating. And Ravi, I think I really like your idea of like an all-star, like Eurostar-esque tournament. And I guess I would just make an appeal to WFDF and whoever else could be involved in organising, in ensuring that there is coverage, because to my current understanding, there will be no coverage of the All Africa Club competition. I know last time round, ULTI.TV were able to cover it, and there's obviously forces much larger than any of us in this room here, but just while there's a camera on me, I'll just make a plea to WFDF and the higher powers that be for that. But that's all I've got to say on the diversity stuff.
Thanks, Tatenda. We'll see what the powers that be decide and take care of anything that is possible in terms of coverage. There's always ways of making it happen, and there are always wheels turning to try and bring coverage to every area necessary. Obviously, hurdles and difficulties that come with it that are always trying to be overcome. I've got Lorcan over my shoulder here with a question.
It wasn't so much a question as it was an extension of T's request. I was involved in the, should we say, like, fledgling attempts to try and get a bit of broadcast happening in Africa, and a lot of that was something that's very much driven in part by people on the ground. It would just be, when we include that plea, yes, of course, we have to appeal to the people higher up, but also, please, we are very available. Reach out to us. Our contact details are available, and so much of this sport and so much of the growth has been built on the connections we've been able to make, and through that, all I would ever want to say is we have, like, an open hand. You should never feel like you can't reach out to us. You should never feel like, oh, I have to reach a certain standard, I have to reach a certain level before I can start to appeal, or before I have enough cachet to extend. it's one of those things where please reach out to us. We are always trying to extend it. Everything we try to do here, when we say we're live, wild and free, we mean it in the most open and welcoming of senses. I understand it sometimes, you know, within yourself or within perhaps how the world beats us all down, or specifically, of course, that is accentuated for certain people or their certain backgrounds. You feel like you're not worthy of it. Please just, we try with everything we do to extend an open hand to Ultimate. And if you ever doubt that you should reach out to us, quash that doubt, please, absolutely, because ultimately it's connections that define us, and it will connections that will make us stronger. So please, yeah, thank you.
So another question to the three of you on the sofa opposite. If someone asked you about, oh, I'm thinking about starting this initiative, or I'm thinking about getting involved, what advice would you give them? Would you say, would you say absolutely go for it? Would you say here's the processes, or kind of, yeah, how would you answer people who are asking you about potential things that they could do?
Yeah, definitely just go for it. I think, you know, as a small example, I just wanted to start off a podcast about European Ultimate a while ago. I just had an idea. I talked to, sorry to talk about ULTI and ULTI.TV. I know you guys are friends, right?
We are all friends.
Yeah. We have the new European editor sitting across from me anyway. So, but at some point I met Charlie at Worlds in 2016, and I just said, hey, I think we're lacking coverage of European Ultimate. I would like to start doing some writing for you there. And eventually, when I met Lorcan at Windmill the next year, I said, hey, this guy seems like a fun person to start a podcast with. So
how wrong you were?
Just reached out and said, hey, can it happen? And he was super willing. And I think don't be shy to talk to the quote unquote like powers that be, as you were saying. I think we have the people that have established things also started it on their own at some point and are usually very willing to open up if you have a good idea and want to execute it. They're willing to help out. So definitely go for it, talk to people, and come up with a plan and just execute. I think that it's a very supportive community, and if you think something's a good idea, probably a lot of other people think it's a good idea too. And yeah, see what can happen.
Well, speaking of good ideas, having Maria Castillo, Sarah Rahali, and Ravi Vasudevan on the show. Ravi Vasudevan on the show tonight. A great idea for us. We're going to leave him on and go into our next segment without a break. And our next segment is, we're going to go into it because we have no guests. It's us. We're talking about the pointy end of this tournament now. We've got semifinals tomorrow. A couple sighs from that couch because they all are participants and they're not in the pointy end of this tournament right now. My condolences. But Benji, condolences? Yeah, I thought I got. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna chew on that one too much longer. Do we have graphics up for this, or are we just getting straight into it, round by round here? Boom! Look at that graphics, baby. Open semifinals. Want to chew on this, Sean? Talk us through it.
Yeah, so two pretty intriguing matchups. Germany, Belgium. Those two teams obviously been kind of chasing Great Britain for Germany. Been chasing Great Britain for a few cycles now, and Belgium have been the up-and-coming team this year. The two of them kind of get to, I suppose the phrase would be, kind of take lumps out of each other before they have to go through to the final. It's going to be a hell of a game, I would say. There's two teams that are really fired up and looking like they're ready to go. Germany have had a lot of success in the recent past, but they have been at the top end. They might be not quite as deep as Belgium, but both those teams are going to be raring to go. And then Italy kind of had a run to the semis that wasn't necessarily expected. They played Belgium, they played GB, they lost both those games, but they were very, very competitive. So GB going to be going out firing. They're the ones with the target on their back. Yeah, it's going to be a great round, I would say. Do we have to make predictions here, or are we going to do that later?
No, we can make predictions. Shoot your shot.
GB Belgium is what I would say in the final, but the Germany Belgium semi wouldn't necessarily be surprised by anything that happens there, as Justin said, but I'm sticking my neck out of it more than he would.
I'm going to immediately disagree with that, and I'm going to say it's going to be a Germany GB final.
significant disagreement. I'm stunned that Lorcan has picked Great Britain to succeed in anything, but I suppose you've been living there long enough now.
I'm sorry, I'm informed by precedent, Sean.
Living there long enough, it's soaked into his Irish bones.
I'm going to hear it from Chopo first thing in the morning for not, you know, the opinionistas not respecting enough, but it's definitely going to be GB getting through the Italians. And I'm gonna overcoming. I don't even know if I'm gonna ever get that right. But GB victorious, as well as Belgium victorious.
I actually think Italy are going to win. No, that's not true. I'm aware somewhere in an Italian bedroom there's going to be like a dartboard with my face on it saying, "We're going to prove you wrong, God damn it." But I think Great Britain are probably justifiably the favourites for that game. The other one, I kind of see as a bit of a coin flip. I think that the fact that the Germans have a bit more, there's kind of a more of a machine-like component to their offence, I think could be quite a good counter to how Belgium play. That one for me is a true toss-up.
Did anyone watch the? Sorry to ask, get in the way of all these predictions.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I've been busy playing in the Open Division, or coaching in the Open Division, so I haven't been able to watch a lot of the games that I'm not, prepping for my opponents with, and these teams are not ones, sadly, that I've had to prepare for because of reasons. But no, so I was watching the scores, and I saw that the Germany-Czech game was incredibly close. The Czech Republic was a team that had not the best result, I think, going into quarters. And then all of a sudden they were tied, I think, like 10-10 or something like that with Germany, and they had to pull away right at the last minute. 15-13, I see, is the final score. I do know that Andre Riedlo started playing today. Having a fresh Andre Riedlo for bracket play isn't the worst thing to have. But was anyone here watching that game and to know what happened to Germany there? Because that will be my doubt. Belgium, I think, have only lost to GB
in Universe,
and everything else they've won pretty comfortably, mainly.
Yeah,
tied
it was
against
15,
Italy.
13 or 12, something like that against Italy. It was pretty close, but
that was
you're right.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that was the one where Laffy had the drop pull and
yes,
the little comeback.
Sorry, these Italians are going to hate us, but yes, yeah. So.
Like me, I don't drop the pull. You gotta bobble it and catch it. Bobble it and catch it. Look at, if you want some advice, Laffy, watch the Diversity Showcase game.
So, moving swiftly on to the game we were talking about there with Germany and the Czechs, the big thing there was that, and this is why I asked for the mic from Benji, the Germany O-line is very, very good offensively. I'm just not 100% sure about their D when they turn it over. And that's what happened against the Czechs. The Czechs had a lot of opportunities to get it even closer and maybe even to win. If the Czechs had won that game, it would not have been shocking because they had so many opportunities, just that their D-line offense was a bit profligate. They gave it away quite a bit. There was one near the end of the game, crossfield blade, that was quite a rogue decision. But if you can get the disc off the Germans and they do give it up, they find it difficult to get it then back off their opponent. And the Czechs were doing a good job. Riedlo had a fantastic game. And they were just kind of riding a wave until we got late into the game. So, yeah, the German D-line the German O-line D is what I would be really focused on in that Belgian game. And when you got a guy like Dan Demarais, the other good players, Kaiten, Van den Broek on the team, so many really good players on that D-line. Sofyan von Thompson, he crosses over. That D-line is full of good players. And if they get the disc off the German O-line, they're not going to do what the Czechs did. They're not going to throw crossfield blades. They're going to put it in.
Have you seen Belgium play?
Yeah. Successful ones. They'll throw successful
they will connect on the crossfield blades. Also, feel free to steal the mic from me if you all want to say anything.
Ravi, as the open kind of representative on that side.
Yeah.
What's your prediction?
All right. So can you put the graphic back up so I can look at them again? I think the Italy GB game. Yes, GB is favored, but Italy know how to play against GB, right? When the Lafota, have they played earlier this tournament so far? No. GB and Italy.
Yes, yes.
What was the score?
15-12 or 13.
Yeah, 15-12-13. I think Italy's really performed pretty well at this tournament. I think above expectations. They're missing Barzazzi and Rossi, who are two of their key players in the club scene, but still very deep team, very athletic team. Their D-line offense is incredible, so probably if they were matching up with Germany, they'd have a favorable one if you're saying that Germany's O-line defense is not that good. Italy's O-line defense has always been bad as well. Sorry. I've always said Italy has great O-line offense, D-line offense, and D-line defense, but their O-line defense is like pretty weak. Usually they'll just give it up when you get the turn on them. So I do think I favor GB. It's so boring. Sorry to our friends from GB, but so I favor GB to win that one, and then Germany, Belgium. I think I feel Belgium. I think I feel Belgium.
What a shock!
It's easy.
It's easy. It's gonna be Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hope it's Belgium. Sorry to the German friends, but like, I hope it's Belgium so that we just get it. We've had Germany, GB the last 2 cycles. It would be good to get another team in there. Belgium, I think, are the people's team here. Like, they're the flashier team. They don't play with all the rules of Ultimate. Like, Germany and GB are very structure, like whatever. Belgium is more flashy, fun. So yeah, let's say Belgium, GB in the final.
Where's the support for Ireland?
What was your patron prediction?
Sorry, my patron prediction? I didn't do a patron prediction.
Let's move on to the.
No, that was for a different. I did a different.
Let's move on to the women's semi-finals. We need to keep the show ticking over. There you see it: Germany, Czech Republic, and Italy, GB. First of all, this might sting a little. Maria, I'm going to ask you about that Czech-Belgium quarter-final, because 14-12, the final score, there was a point where it looked like not being that close, and Belgium, as they've been wont to do, found a huge run late in the game.
What is the question? Sorry.
It's a fair point.
Did you not want to make the semi-finals?
That's not what I was going to ask.
That's what he implied. That's what he implied.
No. I was going to say that. What do you make of the Czech Republic women's team?
They're super fast. Yeah, they move. As they were saying before, the Italians, the Spanish people, they don't manage to move that fast and keep it till all the tournament. I think the Czech managed to do it all the tournament long. It's very hard to stop them with the back around very fast. They just go and you can't stop them. Yeah.
So they're taking on Germany in the semis and Italy, Great Britain on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
I think the kind of the sensible prediction is Germany GB rematch in the finals. Does anyone have any a differing opinion? Because
I'm
here
not really
for it.
sure. Like the Italians, they've been very, very strong during the tournament. I think they have a very solid team. They also know how to break very fast. So as soon as they get the Frisbee, they score. They have a very good D-line that knows how to score. So I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a good match.
But prediction there, Maria?
Germany, Italy, maybe.
Germany, Italy.
I like it.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that somebody playing for the Germans accidentally broke a mirror in a witch's house sometime recently, so I think they might be cursed. So I'm going to go Czech and GB.
I also heard the German team is doing pretty well also. Like, a lot of players are getting to play a game that normally they are not allowed or that they don't get, and they look also very consistent and very strong. So yeah.
They look very German, and I mean that in the nicest way. Like, the machine keeps ticking even though Gerner's not there.
Yeah, top player out, and I don't see much deviation. Like, you miss her on there because the highlights she's going to put on the camera, but the team is still just moving right along. I'm going to just give mine nice and quick, and I will agree with Maria, I think Italy's going to get through GB, but I don't see the Czechs beating Germany. So Italy, Germany for me.
Yeah, I saw the another heartbreak for us, the Germany-Netherlands quarterfinal. Was a tough one for our girls over there. They played really well with heart. There was a lot of chances, definitely they got a lot of break chances, and so Germany's O-line is fallible. They definitely aren't as solid without Gerner around, and they give a few more opportunities. I mean, of course, the Dutch have some very athletic defenders out there that were making trouble for them and working really, really hard. And it was a really cool vibe because the Dutch Open team was there, the German Open team was there. We had a lot of like support for both teams. It was getting crazy. I think the same thing was true in the Belgium Czech game because it was right behind us. So we had all like Open team sidelines like for both games right next to each other. There's a lot of amazing electric energy. But yeah, this German team it's like they had in the first half against the Dutch, they had so many times where like the Dutch was playing incredible team defense, and Germany, you say they're really systematic like machine, yes, but even when they're taken out of that and Germany would like throw this disc, it would go up and you would say for sure that's a turn. They would make a huge layout play to save it and keep possession. And so like you can try to stop this machine, and even if you can get, you know, the gears a little jammed up, they still find a way out of it. And that's I think the X factor that they have. It's not just the German efficiency, but the fact that they can also have playmakers as well. Schall was amazing. Many other players were amazing. And I you know, we were hoping, you know, Germany has the curse of the EUC quarters. The last two editions, they lost out. And at one point, it was 13-10, game to 14, which is pretty similar to 14-11, game to 15, which was the same. So I was like, okay, they're right where we want them. But no, they managed to punch it in and win the game. So I think Germany probably defeat the Czechs. The Czechs have been very impressive all year, but I think Germany are just stronger. I think they broke the curse of quarters, and so now they don't have to worry about that anymore. They don't have that curse anymore. They took that monkey off their back. And then in the GB Italy game, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of these teams play, but based on what I've seen, the few games I have seen of them play, I would still back GB to win. So I think it's going to be a Germany GB final.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but still, I don't know. I want to say that the Czech will make it to the final because, sorry, but I saw them play and they were just unstoppable. Like just so fast and like just picking the disc, deep shots, layouts, like whatever. It was just, they were just playing so well. So I'm gonna say Czech in final.
I like it.
Against I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't seen the Italians or GB play, so maybe GB. Yeah, Czech GB. Czech GB.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna back Germany 100% because they played the Czechs actually in our live stream, and they got broken by the Czechs once in the second half. But they were convincingly, they weren't the better team in the second half. They looked like the better team though. So Germany over the Czech Republic, also because of the deep shots the Czech puts up, every single one was deed by a German player because they're just taller and better at reading the disc. And then for Italy GB, I think this might not be a popular opinion, but I think it depends on the weather because GB might have the better throwers, but Italy are so good at fighting. And the way they can use their athleticism is just maybe one up on GB. So whatever the weather goddess will give us tomorrow will decide that other semi-final.
So you're saying nice weather goes to GB and scrappy weather goes to Italy, or the other way around?
Other way around.
Okay, all right.
And I'm gonna back Italy.
I like it. That sounds like you're back in good weather. I don't know if I believe that.
We've been too lucky with the weather
Limerick.
this
Guys,
week.
we have one division to go. We do have to wrap things up pretty quickly here, so we're going to go through our mixed division, and we are going to rapid fire, no explanation, just chuck at your teams. Tell me who you got. There it is, GB versus France, Italy versus Ireland. You see the paths they took to get there. We'll start with Mr. Colfer.
So France are the best team at the tournament to me, so I'm taking France. And Italy have been playing very well. Very impressed they got here. But Ireland, I think, are better. So France, Ireland.
France, Ireland from Colfer. Let's go to our guest coach here. What do we got?
Yeah, I agree. France 100%, and then Ireland. I think it's gonna be the final.
France, Italy.
Whoa.
No.
Davide in a final.
Boo. France, Ireland. Yes.
I picked GB Island on our EUC preview show like 3 months ago, so I'm going to stick with that. I think GB pick it up at the right time, and I think Italy have kind of they've had that one big upset game against Germany. I don't know if they can repeat the trick.
Ireland, and it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go Ireland GB as well.
Oh, no.
You said it doesn't matter. It's also the same as GB.
Like a true Irishman. Christina.
There's too much is no good on France for me not to pick them. Simone Ruel hooked me up with the France cap today, so I will be supporting the French to get it done, and I think they will be taking on the hometown heroes, the Irish, and any which way you slice it, we've got a great day of action on our hands tomorrow. I can't wait for it, Benji. And everybody here, thank you all for being with us. I'm going to pass to Benji here. I think we're on our way out, though, Benj.
I think we are indeed. Those of you wondering what the streaming schedule is, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. We are streaming both semi-finals in each division at 9, 11 and 1 o'clock, and then the finals at 3, 5 and 7 o'clock. So a late finish on Friday night, and you can bet you that ULTI.TV is going to bring you it all for free live on our YouTube channel. You know how it all works. Like, subscribe, all the various calls to action, and chuck a couple of quid in the Patreon as well. Help support the growth of free live Ultimate and help us bring things like those free streams like Limerick Late Night Live from 55, presented by our friends at EURODISC, and we thank them always for their support in helping you to bring free live Ultimate. A huge round of applause as well, just on the way out, for Maria, Sarah and Ravi. And from all of us here at ULTI.TV, we'll see you on the other side for Finals Day.
What's that smell? Smell.
Roger picks up. He goes deep in one throw. Delal on the chase. Nice pickup, left hand there. One throw offense for the.
And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! From out of nowhere!
And maybe inabilities are things that he can still improve on, but in general, definitely a player to watch. And then valiant effort from Lopez.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg!